Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Thanks for hanging out with me again. If you guys remember in the previous video, I told you I went to Austin, saw a bunch of fish rooms and a bunch of fish stores. Today we are going to go into the first fish room. This fish room is owned by Riccardo. Riccardo is the president of the Greater Austin Aquarium Society. This guy has got some really rare cichlids, and he is one of the few that is in the group that is a cichlid guy, and he is a cichlid guy through and through and through. He knows his stuff. He knows all these crazy scientific names these things have. So he's got a lot of really cool and a lot of rare and a lot of ones that are actually endangered or almost extinct. Let me warn you though, problem that we had is that this was the day before the auction, so he was incredibly busy. So didn't have time to clean the tank, so just warning that a lot of the tanks, it's kind of hard to see because there's a lot of stuff on the glass, but I'll let you guys know the next time that we're down there, we'll get everything cleaned up real well so you guys can see the fish a lot better, because this was just a really, really cool time. So let's head on out there.
Okay, right here are some grow outs. They're Carpenters, erectus Carpenters escondido. So they got these beautiful blue. They're hyper aggressive. I got about 5 of them in there, I believe. The artificial plants are to just break the line of sight. These eventually will go in a 125, or I'm hoping to get a pair out of them. But they have this beautiful blue marcation, commonly known as a Texas cichlid. This over here is a gold-based flower horn. I've been pretty anti-hybrid my whole life, so having this here is a new thing for me. It was a birthday gift, and I figured it'd be hard to talk about hybrids if you hadn't actually kept one. So I'm keeping him, trying to make him the best he can be, and it's a gold-based flower horn. Yeah. Over here we have a Central American cichlid. These are grow outs. These were sent to me by a hobbyist in Oklahoma. That's Gerald Griffin, I'm sorry, in Arkansas. No, he's in Oklahoma. He's going to kill me for that. Okay. It's all the same state up there, I think. Yeah. These are Cryptoheros nanoluteus. They have a beautiful gold body and blue eyes. They'll get about a couple more inches. They're in their juvenile sort of look right now. As adults, they're beautiful. They're endangered. They're a CARES list fish, and so my aim is to breed them and get them out there. So in here we have a Honduran redpoints. They're also a convict-like fish. If you look down on the bottom of the tank, you'll see million of fry. These fish really love to breed, and they breed easily. And if you see the adults in there, I have some leucistic and some the normal color morph. Of course, the leucistic are not albinos, but they are retaining some of the coloration of the normal color morph. I should have a mixture of fry in there that'll be both. And those fish will grow maybe an inch or 2 more. They won't get very big, and they're commonly confused with convicts. They are from the same family, and they're just a great fish. They're really fun. Okay, so over here is it's a project tank. The ultimate goal is just to have Buccochromis and Notitania, and what we have here, the Spilonatus, or also, name escapes me right now, but these blue and gold Spilonatus Tanzania. This is going to be a breeding tank for both of those. Everything else in here is going to go, including the catfish, but this is a mixture of Malawi fish and some stuff in here that was feeders that never got eaten. So there's a convict hybrid in there, and there's a Venustus. You can see a blue dolphin, a VC10, a red empress, a tangerine tiger. There's also this beautiful blue fish right here is a I breed them.
Because the names are so stinking hard.
It's like, I literally breed them. I have a whole thing of been breeding for. They're Taiwanese reefs, so Protomelis steveni Taiwanese reef. I have Victorians. These are Haplochromis ruby green, or as preferred by the purists, is to call them ruby. The green was a trade name that was just added on. They're very beautiful. You see the males have a beautiful bright red on them, and they're not super aggressive. Some Victorians get a bad name, but these are fairly friendly, and you can see that they're living with juveniles, no problem. There's also a Bristlenose in there, quite a few swords. This is definitely a low-tech tank, a dirted tank that I inherited. And you might even see a cherry barb in there. They've been hanging on for dear life as my dither fish. Over here, sort of a planted tank mess, a nightmare, if you will. Tons of species. I don't do much to it. There's CO2. I stopped fertilizing this tank mainly because of algae problems over the years. I used liquid fertilizer for a long time. The lights get about 8 hours of light. It's a Phoenix 24 planted, but in there I have rainbows, I have Bosemani, I have another rainbow that is from Snapper Creek, a lone male whose mate died, so I won't be breeding that. There's also, ironically, a peacock, an African cichlid that jumped from the top tank all the way down. I used to have peacock gudgeons in that tank also, but my Venustus jumped from the top 125 down into that 40 and ate all my peacock gudgeons. So I woke up one morning to find a Venustus in that tank. So over here we have, these are sort of utilitarian tanks. These are going to auction. They're Silver Streak Ventralis. Normally you would keep them in something like a 75 or a 100 or bigger. They're a beautiful fish from Tanganyika, a cichlid, herbivores. Anyway, hopefully I can win them at auction and they'll come back. Also next here we have just a ton of beautiful plecos that were donated to our club. They're going to auction probably by the time you're watching this, if I don't completely get edited out. These plecos will be gone from my house, or hopefully back. And in the next tank here we have some wild caught plecos. These were donated by TFK Aquatics, and they're going also to auction. They're Angelicus. Over here I have Achillea Sugar Ray, or Sugar Ray. They're really food aggressive, that's why they sit at the top. They will eat anything. But these are also very rare, highly endangered. They're from the desert in Eritrea, which is next to Ethiopia. They're not in the commercial trade. My knowledge of this is basically that they were collected one time and have been spread throughout the hobby. Really cool cichlid. We'll look at the adults later. So in this tank I have some Nicaraguan cichlids, Nicaraguensis, and also a lone molly there that is meant to bring out the super shy Nicaraguense. Now, funnily enough, the female is a lot braver than the male. And right now I think you're looking at the male through the PVC. And he just hides, like you rarely see him. But the female's out and about, and of course if there's food to be had. And you can see that they love to dig. I did not make the tank like this. This is how they made the tank. And I'm excited to get those breeding. So down here we have a cichlid that's very special to me. These were, I acquired these from Greg Steves, famous Victorian cichlid keeper. These are called Mbipia with the silent M, crossbars. So they got a very unique story. They were on an import list from Germany about a couple decades ago, and all that was listed on it was, I think, the location, which was Yala Swamp, and the genus name Mbipia might not even have had that. So they've gone around the hobby a bit. Really a fish for people that are crazy about Victorians. The area that they were in has been completely drained, so they don't really have a home to go back to in Yala Swamp in Lake Victoria. I love keeping these and spreading them around the hobby. They're a Cares fish also. Down here we have my attempt at a Tanganyikan tank, I guess. Really just some grow outs, which you'll find in here, some Julidochromis marlieri. You also have Parasiprochromis nigropinnis, which are blue neons. They're like Cypricomus, but they're smaller. So they're Parasiprochromis. They're really cool fish. They're a mouth brooder, and they will breed in tank, but the Julies in there probably pick off their young. I do have some of their young around the corner. Now, this here's my wet pet. This is a Cuban Cichlid. He will get bigger, but I just love his coloration. It's a really striking fish, pretty responsive. He either loves to see me or wants to run away, but he always thinks I'm going to feed him. He did have a mate. He did decide to kill her, and that was heartbreaking for me, not him. He didn't seem to care. But they are notorious for that, so he lives by himself until maybe we find him another mate and teach him some manners. So up here, we also have a fish that's special to me. You'll notice a theme. All these fish are special to me, but this is Acara latifrons, which is the trade name is Platinum Acara. This is the first fish I ever bred from wild-caught parents, and I've only been in the hobby about 3 years. So these mean a lot to me, as I can still remember the first fish I bred. And what's funny about these is I found myself listed on a government website for having these fish, because I think a U.S. Fish and Game keeps track of whether or not fish are a threat to the environment. So they've listed all kinds of species and where you can find them. And apparently I was the only person they found in the U.S. that had these fish. So that was kind of cool. Here's some filter storage. Also in here are some panda cories and dicrossus. These are just in holding to go to auction tomorrow. And the dicrossus is a very beautiful dwarf cichlid. I also have my eyes on this. Luckily, if this airs, it'll be after the auction. You all won't know what I wanted until it's in my fish room. They are also called checkerboard cichlids. You can see the males have the long finnage, particularly on the anal fin there. On the caudal fin. And they got those really long streamers. And given enough space and time, they'll really color up nicely. They'll always retain that checkerboard, but they have nice turquoise and red in them. I'm falling in love. Next tank is a mess. It's a Cory explosion over here, but you got a lot of really cool Corys in there. One of them being Corydoras pulcher. They're the big ones. In here we have Killifish, Aphyosemion gabonaise. Very colorful Killifish. As you can see, I threw a lot of plants in here, mainly because all the tanks up here are more utilitarian, but this one I can put these Killifish in and they'll breed in there and the fry will survive. So that's why you see a lot of moss and some different types of plants in there. The male is kind of beautiful. Down here we have more Killies. This is sort of the classic Killy, everybody's first Killy, Pachyplanchex playferi. They're from the Seychelles, which is an island near Madagascar. They're really easy to breed. They're really cool fish. The males color up. The females sort of have that spot on the dorsal that you can see. So I have 2 males in there. And like I said, they won't eat their eggs. They will lay eggs in there and and there won't be any casualties. Here we have Pakipan checks, amlanatus. These are all covered up because they're also really good jumpers. The males are red. This is an endangered species. It's from Madagascar, and another breeding project of mine. As you can see, I'm really into breeding endangered species if I can. And we have tetras in here that are going to auction. Also have dwarf cichlids that are anomala, I forget the name. Anyway, the dwarf cichlid's not showing much color anyway. And also in here I have some what they like to call on Reddit, they like to call them the noodles, some fun noodles, the loaches, coolie loaches. These are Buccochromis noditania grow-outs, Lake Malawi hap, predator hap. They'll get 16 inches. As you can see, I give them a lot of food, a lot of high protein stuff, and so their tank is messy. But they're beautiful, beautiful fish when they grow up. What else do we have? Here we have some Schwartzie, some Corydoras Schwartzie, the Venezuela black variety. I've been told that these are line bred to be that color, not naturally occurring, nor are they from Venezuela, but that's a trade name. And I got these from Dave's Rare Fish in San Antonio. In here we have a really cool fish, at least I think it is. You may not think so, but perhaps you've heard of the golden killifish. This is a killifish, a very popular killifish in the trade. They come from India, and this is a wild type. Actually, the parents were wild collected in India in the Kerala River, and what you don't normally see in the trade is the females with the stripes. So these are really cool fish that's very commonly found in the trade, but not in this sort of wild type coloration. So I thought I would get algae to grow on the rock here, but unfortunately just grew on my glass. That's what you get for taking the light down from the ceiling and putting it on top of your tank. These are Tropheus duboisé Mazwa. So the thing about the Mazwa location is that these fish have been overfished and are, as a result, very hard to get, and I would recommend that you do not buy any wild-caught Mazwa and that you breed captive-bred Mazwa, which is what's going on here. I bought these as 8 juveniles. There's 7. It's a small group for Tropheus, but I bought everything I saw. These fish in here, these are juveniles. They're allegedly, and everyone says this, but allegedly the pound for pound meanest fish on earth that you can buy or find. These are they're Hemichromis. Oh, it's a tough name. Forgive me, Fred Mongi, also known as the 5-star general. So we can stick to trade names like that, which is a great name. I've seen them kill flower horns and dovey. There were 4 of them in here, for instance. You might notice there's only 2 of them. They should grow hopefully to about 8 or 10 inches, and we'll get a beautiful red coloration. You might notice that the genus name Hemichromis is the same as the jewel cichlid. They are in the same genus as those red jewel cichlids that you see, but these are sort of in a different group of green type jewels. So they're not going to turn that super bright red all over, and they're going to get big. So down here, really cool fish. I showed you earlier or later. However, this gets edited. We showed you some fry. These are Achillea Sugar Ray. They come from the desert. They love really hot water. I keep it at 85 to 90. That keeps them happiest. The tank's a little Spartan, but that's exactly pretty much how their habitat looks. And you see the male, when he's in the mood, has a very bright yellow hump. Right now he's a little docile, and they're absolute pigs. They will eat your hands, eat anything that goes near the tank. If we put our hand up here, they're going to go nuts. Maybe. Semi-nuts. You guys are embarrassing me. Come on. Bite. Anyway, yes, they're stranger danger. I've taught them well. And they're really cool fish, really rare. Sort of a holy grail for a lot of cichlid keepers. This is a small group of Acara bienchi, also known as the sunshine cichlid, not to be confused with the other sunshine, which is Acara Stuart Grantee, Malaria Island. These fish are already breeding at their incredibly small size of 2 inches, and you will see some of the females are holding and the males colored up. They're literally babies having babies, and I like their attitude. They got a little bit of spunk for fish that are so small. Has some really cool inhabitants, and these are Pungu maclareni. I showed you the Stomatepia pindu. They're from the same lake. It's a crater lake in Africa, very small lake, and so these fish are endangered by the fact that they're only found in one lake in Africa that I'm guessing is at most a kilometer, a couple kilometers wide. So very small lake, very remote. And also in here is another endangered fish, and these are goodies, and they are Scyphia multipunctata from Lago Camacuaro, and that's in Central America and Mexico. These are 3 males. I wish I had a female. If you're watching this, let's get a female over here and get these fish breeding, because they are either completely extinct in the wild or very close to it. Okay, so here we have, everyone's got to have at least one extremely overstocked African cichlid tank. This is an Mbuna tank, and I'm particularly fond of this tank because of the wide variety of species in there. And anyone that knows their cichlids really well will notice there's also a Victorian Cichlid in there, a male. And he hangs out just fine with them. He's an herbivore. Anyway, so you have about 5, maybe 6 or 7 different species in here. Highlights include like the Pseudotropheus species, the pullets, which are, the male is a beautiful powder blue, and he hides a lot. Fairly aggressive dwarf Mbuna. Also, you have in here what are called marmalade cats. Those are Philoborni, Labiotropheus Philoborni, and they're one of the few fish where naturally occurring blots, the orange blot trait is in the males. This tank is my piece de resistance. It's fish are these growing out, but again, very near and dear to my heart. There's some Madagascar or Malagasy cichlids in here. Right now you're looking at pinstripe dembas or Paratropolis minorambo, once believed to be completely extinct in the wild. There was a very small population found in another lake. So they're not completely extinct, but very endangered, and a beautiful fish. It will grow probably to 12 or 14 inches. Also in there you have Paratropolis dembabe. Also, any fish, when we talk about Madagascar, almost everything is threatened there due to deforestation and just habitat destruction in general. So we also, in there, will have some bleakeri, which are the big spot version of the poleni. They're young and growing out, also from Madagascar.
Thanks again, guys, for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this fish room tour. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already and you love fish room tours, you love fish store tours, you love DIY, you love anything about fish and fish rooms, then be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. If you got a question, be sure and leave it down below. So thanks again, guys, and God bless.